The morning sun spilled over the quiet suburban streets, but inside the Mitchell household, tension buzzed like electricity. HOA Karen, the neighborhood's self-proclaimed authority, had dialed 911 yet again, furious that the Mitchells had painted their garage door the wrong shade. What she didn't know, what no one expected, was that every adult in that house was a practicing lawyer. As uniformed officers arrived, Karen's smug grin faltered. Inside, Mark Mitchell sipped his coffee calmly, reviewing case files while his wife Laura and their adult children glanced at each other, unspoken understanding passing between them. The officers, unsure what they had walked into, hesitated at the threshold. Karen was about to learn that intimidation had met its match, and this was only the beginning. Karen's voice trembled slightly as she tried to explain the violation to the officers, waving her HOA rulebook like a weapon. But Mark Mitchell stepped forward, his calm demeanor radiating authority. "Officers, perhaps we should clarify the legal boundaries here," he said smoothly. Laura joined him, her tone firm yet polite, outlining every homeowner's right the HOA had overlooked. The officers exchanged uncertain glances. They had never dealt with a household that practically radiated legal expertise. Meanwhile, Karen fumed, realizing her usual tactics might backfire. Every threat she had planned seemed to crumble under the weight of meticulous legal knowledge. Inside the Mitchell home, strategy whispered through the air. This wasn't just about a garage door. It was about teaching a lesson Karen would never forget. And she was about to find out that this family didn't just follow the law. They lived it. Karen's face reddened as the officers slowly backed away, clearly caught between HOA loyalty and the undeniable presence of legal authority. She had expected fear, compliance, maybe even tears, but not this calm, calculated pushback. Mark, sensing her desperation, leaned in with a soft, almost conspiratorial smile. "Karen, we can resolve this quickly. Legally, of course, or continue this way and involve a court." "Your choice," Laura added. "It's always better to understand the rules before enforcing them." The air crackled with unspoken power dynamics. Karen's fury now mingled with panic. Her neighbors watched curiously from behind curtains, unaware that a legal storm was quietly brewing in their quiet street. And deep down, Karen knew this confrontation was no ordinary HOA squabble. It was a reckoning she had never anticipated. The Mitchells weren't just defending their home. They were about to redefine the neighborhood hierarchy entirely. Karen's fingers shook as she held the HOA rulebook like a shield, but every point she raised was met with calm, precise counter-arguments from the Mitchell family. Mark pulled out a well-documented list of precedents and community bylaws, flipping through pages with the poise of a courtroom lawyer. Laura spoke next, citing homeowners' rights and HOA overreach cases, each sentence cutting through Karen's, bravado like a sharp blade. Even the children, recently graduated law students, added insights that left Karen speechless. The officers shifted uneasily, sensing that they had become unwilling witnesses to a masterclass in legal strategy. Karen's usual intimidation tactics crumbled as the Mitchells methodically exposed flaws in her arguments, each revelation tightening the invisible net around her arrogance. By the time she realized it, the entire neighborhood was watching, and the power balance had irrevocably shifted. Karen's confident smirk had vanished, replaced by a flicker of fear as neighbors peeked from windows, sensing the unraveling of her authority. The Mitchells weren't just defending their garage, they were exposing years of arbitrary HOA enforcement. Mark calmly drafted a formal notice, citing HOA violations and potential liability for harassment. Laura's voice carried to the officers, who now looked unsure of their role. "Karen, your actions could have serious legal repercussions. We advise reconsideration." Even the children compiled evidence of prior HOA oversteps, presenting a digital record that left Karen speechless. The tension in the street was palpable. Whispers of disbelief floated among neighbors. What began as a petty complaint had turned into a public unmasking of HOA overreach, and Karen had no escape. Her power had been dismantled step by step, and the Mitchells, poised and composed, were just getting started. Karen sat on her porch, stunned, as Mark calmly presented a legally binding letter detailing HOA guidelines, homeowners' rights, and potential liabilities. The officers nodded politely, quietly relieved to step out of the storm. Laura explained how the Mitchell family's knowledge wasn't just power, it was protection, and how unchecked HOA authority could harm an entire community. Karen's anger had dulled into silent panic. She realized her threats had only exposed her own ignorance. Neighbors, once intimidated by her dominance, now whispered about the Mitchells' courage and legal mastery. Even Karen's closest allies avoided eye contact, unsure how to recover from the public embarrassment. The family's strategy had worked flawlessly, not with rage, but with calm, intelligent authority. By the evening, Karen sat alone, reflecting on the consequences she had underestimated. For the first time, she understood that authority without knowledge was fragile, and arrogance could backfire spectacularly. By sunset, the neighborhood had settled into an uneasy calm. Karen, once the self-proclaimed ruler of the streets, had been humbled, not by force, but by knowledge and strategy. The Mitchells stood together on their porch, a quiet but firm testament to the power of preparation, intelligence, and composure. Their actions had not only defended their home but had sent a clear message: respect the law, respect your neighbors, and never underestimate those who understand their rights. Karen's arrogance had crumbled, replaced by cautious reflection, while the community gained a newfound respect for fairness and accountability. As the last light faded, the Mitchells shared a knowing smile, proud of the way they had turned fear into respect, chaos into clarity. In the end, it wasn't a battle of shouting or threats. It was a triumph of knowledge, unity, and calm authority, leaving a lasting impression on everyone who had witnessed it.